we formed MLG. We started having events. We raised a bunch of money. So I'd gotten to a point where my wife and I moved out of my big loft in Tribeca, which is where we threw these parties.
So you're married by this time now?
No, this is my current wife.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So
Girlfriend at the time.
Girlfriend at the time. She and I meet in like 2000. 2002, she's pregnant, right? And she tells me right as we're starting MLG. And I'm like, yo, she called me. I was literally on my bike to the driving range. She's like, I'm pregnant. And I like an asshole. I'm like, for real?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And like a bigger asshole, mine?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm like, I get it. No, I just, I don't, you know, gotta ask. I didn't know we were exclusive. No, I'm kidding. We weren't. But she has a sense of humor about it now. She did not at the time. So I drove, I said later to my buddy, I went down to her apartment. We sat there, we talked, and I said, yeah, I'm in a really precarious spot right now. I just started this company and I don't have a ton of money.
What year was this?
This is 2002.
Okay,
right?
2002.
So when we just started the business. Like you have to, and we didn't live together at the time, right? And I was like, you got to move in, we got to cut costs, we got to figure shit out to do. So fast forward a little bit, and I figure out what we're gonna do. She's living with me. I've set her up with an eBay store. She's selling merch that I'm buying for her on Canal Street on the eBay store for a markup, making good money doing that. I'm working with Mikey. And we're like, okay, struggle bus. I'm like, we got to move out of this loft. The rent at the time was like $4,200, and back then that was expensive. Now it'd be like 10.
Jeez.
Moved to Brooklyn, and I had said right before my son Saja was born, I had said, if 3 years into this, when he's 3 years old, if I don't have this shit figured out, I'm done, because he can't want for anything. He has to have a comfortable life, right?
Yeah.
So that's before he's born. 6.5 weeks before he turns 3, we raised our first $10 million. And that was because I had this moment. I was like, because I was on the clock. I was like, I can't afford rent and diapers right now. So it's diapers.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't do that. So I was doing this for the last month and a half or so before we raised the capital, but I had parachute ready. I had job offers. I had people who would pay me to consult lined up, but I was putting 100% of my work time, my mental, kind of creativity into this business at the time. So when that happened, I was like, all right, that's it. Now we're going to go. So we got a new office, crappy office still. We still did not get a nice office. Started to hire some people, started to bring people in, and learned one of the first biggest mistakes that you can make in the esports space that I would advise against anyone. If you're going to bring someone in who has no experience in esports, I don't care if they're from traditional sports, I don't care if they're from traditional media, make sure this is somebody that you would want to spend a significant amount of time with to train about esports, because they're going to have to learn on your dime.
Yeah.
They're going to have to learn on your time.
Yeah.
Don't bring them in and put them in charge just like that, because, oh, look at this resume.
Yeah.
Fucked up everything.
Yeah.
Literally regret that decision to this day. Well, not regret, but regret that I went into it so kind of passively.
Yeah.
I wish I had said, because it wasn't I didn't lead it. I wish I had said at the time, let's think about this.
Yeah.
What might not work out of this particular approach? Because it costs us time and money in the long term, but learned a very valuable lesson, like failed with it. Took longer than it should have. We'll never make that mistake again. Yeah. Ever.
Yeah. It's such a good thing to learn quickly too, because if you don't, and this is what identifying your role as a business owner, because some people are hands off. Right, some people don't understand the meaning between owning a business and owning a job, which is, there's a huge difference. If you own a business, it means that it can operate with or without you. If you own a job, that means that you are there part in the. All right, so it owning a job and that difference. So that can be the most costly thing that you could ever do. Like, business will fall and fail if you don't have your hand in every single button because you choose to trust somebody else. You better be certain that somebody else is gonna be able to manage because it's yours. And no matter what anyone says, it can happen.
Yeah.
Your plan can go sideways even if you say it can't.
Oh yeah, no, we see it all the time, even with really successful businesses, right? And with successful people. Look, it's one of the parts of kind of growing up and maturing and learning this stuff is like, you got to remind yourself, right? And be smart enough to surround yourself with people that you will listen to when they remind you these things, right? And that's like the conversations that you and I have. Like, look, I've known you a long time. We've had a lot of very open and honest conversations about what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. I've always done my best to be very clear how I can support, want to support, and will support, and to remind you. And I think, there's something that out there to think about, and you've been very straight with me as well, right? And so that's respect. If you can't have a respectful dialogue with somebody, then you can't, you can't move the ball forward, especially in business.
Yeah, I think it's identifying that people's time, especially people like you and me, that time is so valuable. There's no time to bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And if you get above all that and there's no sort of expectation of each other except for the fact that there's no need to be shady with it, like none of that bullshit, then you can get quicker to the core of the vision instead of like, I wonder if he would do this. Just don't think about it. Just speak out loud, and it goes there.
Look, no, like I've told you this. Is like, just you be straight with me. I'll be straight with you. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, that's it. It's pretty straightforward. When you approach it that way, people get emotional about stuff. People have run-ins. People change over time. That's all part of life.
Yeah,
that's all part of life. It's like, but how much you don't want to spend extra time and energy on things you don't need to, in my opinion. So why not just get to the quick?
Yeah. So you sort of hire the wrong person. Learn quickly.
Yep.
At this point, do you understand? Do you know your vision? Do you know it's like, all right, competitive gaming, Major League Gaming is the name of it. So it's going to be video games. Did you think about the whole picture of esports? Because even to this day, there's a video game down the line that hasn't been created that's going to be bigger than anything else that has ever existed.
It's hard to deny that. It's going to be a fact one day. Yeah. So for me, what it was I envisioned a scenario where we would have thousands of people sitting in arenas, hundreds of thousands sitting at home, and the stars of the league revered, right? Yeah. Now, structurally, did I know that we were going to have LED panels behind the stage? No. But I knew we were going to have screens.
Yeah.
Did I know that we were going to have smoke? Maybe, and lighting that moved. Yeah, but to me what it was I wanted a kid to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And we got ESPN magazine, so I'll take it.
Yeah,
right?
That's way better.
Like it's like you build towards a direction, right? And unless you're building the house, you're like, no, that's a 5-bedroom and it's going to be like this and like that. Like you build towards a direction, and then you keep, adjusting course a little bit, but you learn along the way. And so for me, it was, I wanted there to be things like Optic. I wanted there to be things where there would be millions of fans sitting there saying, what time does Optic play?
Yeah.
like legit. Like I was like, okay. I wanted them to be like, what time does MLG start too? But I realized it was important to have one, because without it, you couldn't have the other, right? And they were codependent, but also they were co-producing, right? A movement. So because me, as somebody who's focused on my business and my community, right? If I create a platform for a kid like Scump, or kid like Walshy, and for a businessman entrepreneur like Hector, I feel pretty fucking good about what I built, right? And what they're going to build, because there'll be a point in time when I'm on the sidelines watching what people like you are building and being like, damn, look at this. This is it. It's fine, because now it's in the hands of other people who are passionate and they're believers and they have a vision as well they're going with it.
Yeah. It's okay. So I was gonna start fast forwarding. I'm gonna write the note while I ask this question. Okay. How did you? What was it about Halo that? What was the game that you guys launched with? Was it Halo?
So Halo was our flagship. We also had Madden for a minute. We had Tekken for a second. But the thing about Halo, so Halo was the core. Because there was something about the mechanics of that game at the time where, and there was, Bungie said it was 30 seconds of fun, like it was every 30 seconds there'd be these engagements. When you pulled off a play in that game, you were like, yo, even if you could never do that. Like if I'd get a no-scope snipe across Hang 'em High, I would throw my controller down and do a victory lap. I didn't matter if I was down by 20, you know? And I got the same feeling when I played baseball or basketball, right? When I was a kid, like if I made a great play, I was like, yo, that adrenaline, that rush. So for us, it's on a console, fixed price. It's a disc, fixed price, controller, fixed price. That's what you need to play. Just like cleats, a bat, and a glove, right? So, and the same, it was just this thing. It sunk for us. And I think that game a lot of people had the same experience with that game, right? And then what we realized over time was, okay, we don't own it. They can come say no.
Yeah.
We need to work. We need to hedge our bets and have other games that we invest in as well.
Yeah.
Which is where the other games came in, and there was some turnover there. And then Smash was big for a while for us, and then Gears of War, and then we had Rainbow Six, and then we were finally allowed to do something with Call of Duty, and then we weren't allowed to do something, and then we finally were again. So that was kind of where it all grew from Halo in providing that feeling. And now the great thing is that there are lots of different games that provide a very similar feeling to different people.
Yeah.
I would say the same. The fighting game community, there's some games that just light people up. Call of Duty lights 30 million people up a month. Like there's still a lot of people who play that game. Halo still gets people excited, even though the franchise has taken some turns over time that maybe has made people question it. But people are still hopeful because it's a special game. Right?
Yeah.
Counter-Strike, same thing for a lot of people. And so for me, what it was I realized that we couldn't make all of them, right? But if we try to do really, really well around one or two, like I remember when StarCraft was a huge draw for us. And I would really love what we were able to do with that. But I also knew that it probably wasn't gonna last forever, right? Or be something we could invest in forever. And so that's the other part of it is you just start out and you say, okay, if we can get enough of these pieces right, we can translate them over. And that was why what we learned from Halo we applied to other games, Call of Duty as well. And it was just trying to recapture that and those moments. Like I still think about sitting in the stands with you. Somebody from Scumby pulls off a play, just like like 1,000 people at the same time just roared in like joy, agony, or ecstasy because someone they like just did something, or someone that they're competing against did something. Yep. That's sports. That's the energy I always wanted. Those moments, I was there when, right?
Yeah, I mean the amount of legends that were created, and as you were telling me about that, about Halo and all that, I got a flashback to me living in the first house I ever bought. It's a townhouse in Schaumburg, and Liv was, let's call it 1 years old, okay, or 1, and she's still in her stroller and all that. And I saw out of nowhere, at that time I already been playing Call of Duty, okay, but like, and that was my thing, Call of Duty 2. Hold on a second, is that being picked up? I was playing Call of Duty at the time, and I was eating and feeding Liv spaghetti. And on ESPN or TNT, I saw a sort of highlight video on Halo players. And then from there, I saw the Walshy sort of mini documentary about him starting Kineto and all that.
House,
and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, this dude just bought his own house off of video games. And I'm like, I have a team called Optic, and we're making videos on YouTube. I'm like, we gotta go to MLG, but for Call of Duty. And for me, it was difficult because we started out as a competitive team. That was just like a random. Like, picture any team that gets together today to play, just a group of people. That's what we were. There was no organizational value. There was no LLCs. There was no taxes. You know what I'm saying? No money coming in. So when I saw that, I'm like, holy shit. This dude, Walshy, just did that. To this day, the way that I built my hex quarters was a direct affiliation to my sort of recall of what a Red Bull ad was, where it was Walshy sitting in front of a computer and the floors were slick and all that.
Yeah, he was the first Red Bull signed esports athlete. Like that's something I'm proud of. And homie represented real well.
Yes, well-spoken dude, clever, fast. I mean, you name it. He was a quick on the draw, shoot from the hip kind of guy, and that brought that sort of stardom to it, because up until that point, video games were nerdy.
Oh, for real, dude.
Super nerdy. Like only losers in their mom's
We
basements.
would have people come to our events and be like, "Yo, I can't let anybody in my high school know I'm here." And I'm like, well, "That's the opposite of what I need to hear, bro.
Yeah.
I need you to be like, yo, look, here's a picture of me. I'm at the MLG event up by the main stage. You know, like, no, dude, it was a stigma, man. It was for a while. That was something we were like, yo, how do we get around
So
this?
when you saw those people, when you saw the T squares just waving their cloth or whatever it was, like you got a sense of like, and then the crowd cheering, you're like, yo, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, like video games aside, nothing, like personality is personality, and that's that.
If enough people like a thing to celebrate it, so long as it doesn't hurt anybody, let's celebrate it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So tell me about the first event. How did that happen? Your first LAN.
Okay, so the first event was a complete disaster. We ran it in New York City. It was me, Mike, and a friend, Paul Sullivan, who eventually came to work for us. Shit show. We flew the best Halo team at the time out, the Dream Team. This is a team that would eventually go on to be taken down by the Ogre Twins. But the Darkman was the first kid we signed to a deal. It was a backpack deal. Shit you not. I don't know how we pulled that one. It was like, you get $2,000 in a backpack. You got to wear it to every event. So you see Dustin walking around the event with this backpack on, sweating because he has a sweatshirt on, whatever. Had to turn the AC up, all this stuff. So anyway, we hold the event. It gets messed up. Everybody's like, these guys don't know what they're doing. Get an email from a kid who's planning a LAN, lives in Ohio. It's like, yo, this isn't what he said, but this is what he meant. If you read through the lines, like, let me fucking save you from yourself right now, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, that was not what you wanted to be. That was a bad look. And at this time, Chris Puckett was very vocal on our forums and very harsh towards MLG.
Was he the one that hit you up?
No, it was Adam.
Yeah.
Adam Epicella. Adam had planned, along with Tree, I believe, to throw a LAN. And we were like, yo, if you move it to Philly, we'll fund it. And by the way, we have 10 more we want to do. Fuck it. Well, like if you're gonna get pregnant, get pregnant. You know what I mean? So, and I also felt like we had to announce a circuit. Like, no, we are here. We are legit. We're doing this. You guys don't trust us. This is how you're gonna trust us. We're gonna put hundreds of thousands of dollars to work. I might in the future have done it slightly different, but I'm glad that we did it that way because then we had to follow through.
Yeah.
Right? So Adam comes up to New York to meet us.
Hold on, really quickly. So you throw the LAN.
New York, yep.
Yep. You fail at it because what went wrong? Just connectivity
Brackets
issues?
got fucked up.
Oh,
Timing got fucked up. The space was too small.
Yeah.
Game types were terrible.
Yeah.
Like
too many people showed up. Like
no, I mean it was a good turnout for our first one, but dude, like imagine like that. I asked one of the teams for suggestions on game types, and of course, what did they do? They said, well, "These are game types we're really good at."
yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, I'll put them in," and I got torn to shreds.
Yeah.
Deservedly.
Puckett starts being boisterous. Adam has hit you up and said, "Let me save you from yourself."
Adam's like, "Yo, let's talk." So we have him come up
to
New York,
Okay.
right? And he's staying with me at my loft. We take him to this bar that we used to go to, which was kind of the point of inception for and creation for MLG, called Juno's, a place where Adam would visit many more times with us. And I see him, and he's not what I'm expecting, right? You know Adam.
Yeah.
He's got a big bag over his shoulder. He's big, fit, looks like a power lifter, a wrestler. I'm like, bro, is this really him? And then, sure enough, it's him. And so, and he's cautious. You know Adam. He's like, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, are you good or are you bad? Because if you're bad,
yeah, I'm fucking Hulk smash.
Yeah. So luckily, I mean, to cut to it, we were like, oh, this kid smart and he's passionate about this and he believes in it.
What was that meeting like? What do you say? What do you do?
Well, I mean, you know, we ended up, we ate and we had some barbecue and then we went to the bar and he was just like competitive kid, loved Halo. Came from a part of Ohio where there was a ton of talent, and it was an underground grassroots thing. Had worked in politics, was going to be a lawyer. So of course we talked him out of that. Sorry, Adam, but or actually no, maybe
you're welcome.
Sorry,
Adam. Yeah.
But it was just like mind, right? Like you recognize it's like real, recognize it's real, and I was just like, this kid. So much more buttoned up than we are on details. he's plugged in. He's going to be a community face. He's gonna treat this like it's his own, right? And it is. And so it was like that. I think it may have taken him a little bit longer. I don't want to speak for him.
Yeah.
One day you should ask him.
I will.
But thank God that kid wrote that email that day, because had we rolled into Philadelphia next without him, Philadelphia at the time turned out to be like the biggest Halo event in the history of these little grassroots Halo events. We had other games going on. NFL 2K was one of them, and the winner of our circuit was going to get themselves put into the game. We had all this crazy shit going because we're out selling. We're in New York. It's me and Mike, and we're like, sell. And we're doing a good job of selling, but we hadn't executed yet.
Yeah.
Adam was execution. That was what we needed. So we run Philly almost flawlessly. There was one incident. Adam knows what it was, but I'm not going to bring it up. And it's like, yo, we're off. This shit's real. I remember meeting kids' parents who I had spoken to on the phone. The kids were like, I need you to talk to my mom and dad on the phone and then at the event, so they recognize that this is a real thing. Mm-hmm. And then meeting those kids at that event, and then knowing those kids and knowing those parents 10, 12, 13, 14 years later. So it was, for me, I was just like, this is the beginning of what we're trying to build, right? This is it. And again, this is like crappy staging, taped up MLG signs, like, I don't think all the monitors were matched, like this is people carrying monitors into the hotel for us.
Yeah.
But we were off to the races. And I gotta tell you, man, that event is one that I see pictures of it to this day, and I'm just like, yo, it's a special moment in time, and I was there.
Yeah.
And so were a hell of a lot of other kids.
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
Who won it?
That event was, I think it was STK who ended up winning with Clockwork on this. Yeah, pretty sure. And there was an incident on the main stage. That was kind of part of the issue. But yeah, so it was pretty awesome, to be honest, just to be in that room and like to have, like, people would, at the time we didn't have a center bowl stage or like our elevated stage like we do today for Call of Duty. We had a small elevated little stage, and people just would stand around, and it was 4v4 split screen for Halo on one team, and so they're watching, and like, okay. So it was a different experience as a spectator, dude. It was not great.
Say that again. What do you mean? How do they play?
So one monitor.
Yeah.
4v4 split screen. So you have your three teammates and you, and the same on the other side.
So one TV for four cats.
One team. Yeah,
so
one
two,
team for TV. And so,
Jesus Christ.
Well, no, but think about it. In Halo, team screen looking, like if you could watch your teammate's screen and see where they died, where someone spawned, or if someone's running over them.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way that game was built. But yeah, no, it was
how many teams do you remember? Around how many teams?
It was over 100. It was like 128. And Adam would know the number, and he'd be mad at me for forgetting, but it's a blur to me at this point.
Yeah, I don't want you to give me the recipe, but how did you identify the business, like the profitability opportunities in every single, like sell team passes, sell merch at the thing, to this day, and I mean this. I still have, I think it was like the first true interaction that you and I had. We had a dinner here in Dallas. It's 2013, I believe. 2013? No, it wasn't. No, it was 2010 or 2011. MLG Dallas. I have the T-shirt, and it was you at the head of the table and a whole bunch of team owners. Alex Garfield was sitting right in front of me. He ordered. He and I ordered the lamb. You made fun of us for ordering the lamb. You're like, lamb? What the fuck? Anyway, so. Like, did you guys sell merch at that first event?
Yeah.
How did you plan, like, again, the profitability opportunities and all that? How did you see it?
So that was unpacked over time, to be honest. We felt like sponsorship was our primary focus in the beginning, right? Which everybody who comes into esports, whether a team owner or YouTuber or Twitch streamer, or they're like, oh, you got to sell sponsorship.
Yeah,
and you do. But sponsorship has got to be one of the spokes, right? And so we were looking to get better at things like merchandise, better at things like partnered licensing deals, meaning things like scuff controllers down the road. Like a lot of stuff that developed over time. Team passes became a art and science where we would, see how much the price could go up before people started to say yo, and then see what else we had to add when people did say yo to a higher price. But really, it took it to getting to a place where we could distribute digitally for there to be enough spokes, right? Being able to do a deal with Twitch, being able to do a deal with YouTube, being able to do a deal with Facebook. Those things weren't available to us in the beginning. But when they were, suddenly the game changed, right? And suddenly we're like, hey, we had a successful event we did with Twitch where it was a subscription only pay-per-view, right? For StarCraft. And it was, Kevin and I just talked about it at E3. It was like, yo, remember that? That was great.
I have it written down right here, pay-per-view.
Yeah. No, everyone was pissed at me, but I was like, yo, I have to find a business model that will work for this.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, we go back to the fact that failure is good.
Yeah.
And you weren't afraid to fail, therefore
very publicly.
So you were very okay with trying anything and everything under the sun, which is what set you, to be who you were. So you hold the first event, you meet Adam, you hire Adam subsequently because of that one event, and then he goes on and does 9 more events, or he comes along for the ride and he's got to figure out the logistics. Was he employee number 1?
He was effectively employee number 1. I mean, we had somebody else who worked with us on sales, but Adam's the real employee number 1. Everybody who knows the real history knows that.
Yeah.
He was he was the heart and soul of the team we built for events production. He was the heart and soul of what you still see in that crew that exists that works out of Columbus, Ohio today.
Yeah.
And if you look at the people who have worked not only for MLG, but specifically for Adam, it's like a roadmap of, like good, effective people out there in the esports and other spaces, but primarily in the gaming and esports.